Hey guys, Pokepixel here. I have recently acquired some pretty bad sounding records and cassettes. Here's one of them. This is a 1989 vinyl from Marina Zhulavleva, which I'm probably pronouncing that incorrectly, but it's an old Russian record and it's just very bad sounding. Pops and crackles throughout the entire album. And that got me thinking, can I digitally restore this and make it sound good? Because I actually really like this album. And I was looking around for some software and yeah, I managed to find software that works perfectly. And in today's video, I'm going to show you how to use it, how to set up your recording equipment, and how to tune your settings to make your old records and cassettes sound good. Look, here's some other bad sounding cassettes. So yeah, let's just get straight into it.
Don't come me.
Come back.
Don't come me.
Come back.
Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to be showing you guys how to transfer a cassette. However, the process with transferring records is very similar. There's just extra cassette-based steps that we have to do, which I'm going to tell you about now. So, first thing that you want to do is make sure that Mega Bass is turned off, because we'll be doing our own custom EQ. This applies to Walkmans and any other sort of portable cassette player. Noise reduction I turn off because on this Walkman it sounds really bad. It just muffles your sound and it sounds garbage pretty much. And we'll be applying our own noise reduction within post-production anyway. So the volume I set to max, we'll be adjusting our volume levels later. In terms of the audio capture card, I'm using the Behringer UFO 202. It's under £20, it sounds more than good enough for cassette, and it sounds like 90% good on a record player. You can use your own integrated sound card in your computer if you have a proper PC tower. This is like a thin laptop, so it's only got one combo jack. So I can't really do that without some adapters, and that's a faff. As you can see, I've connected the Walkman via 3.5mm headphone jack cable to RCA. If you're going to be plugging in your record player, it's just going to be the RCA cables that are on the back. With a record player, you can see there's an option for line and phono. For cassettes and for any other device like an iPod or your phone, it's always going to be line. Phono, basically you can use this capture card's integrated phono preamp, which could in theory sound better, but it could also sound worse. The decision is up to you. If you don't know what a phono preamp is, chances are you'll just want to set it to line. And I think that's it. So let's go into the computer now. Now what you want to do is you want to right click on your volume icon and then click Open Sound Settings. Then click Sound Control Panel. Then go into your recording tab and you will see something along the lines of USB audio codec, although this name will depend on what sound card you are using, if it's integrated, if it's a USB one, etc. But you basically want to double click on that. Then click Advanced, and then make sure that it's set to 2 channel and the highest quality that you can pick. With this sound card, by default set to 1 channel, and there's a lot of negative reviews that say that this is only a mono capture card, which is incorrect. People just forget to change the setting, so make sure you do that. Now this is purely a optional step, but you can click on the Listen tab and then press Listen to this device, and this allows you to listen back to your record or your cassette or whatever, and this allows you to check if the volume is fine, if it sounds fine, if you've got it cued correctly, you know, you're not like recording in the middle of the track. It's a pretty useful thing to have enabled. Then you want to launch Audacity. Now, I didn't actually speak about why I decided to use Audacity to record the audio with instead of SoundForge. Well, SoundForge is actually easier to use for recording audio because it actually tells you if your source is too quiet or too loud. But I just prefer to use Audacity because it's something that I'm used to, and I like the fact that I can just save the unedited file instead of directly editing the recording like you do on SoundForge. But either way is fine. First of all, make sure that your microphone is set correctly to, for example, USB audio codec here. Make sure that it's set to stereo as well. Then you can click here to start monitoring, and this allows you to see the level or the volume of your audio that's coming through, and you want to make sure that it's set perfectly. You want to make sure that it's below the 0, because if it's above 0, then you start to introduce clipping into your sound where the sound is too hot. So you want to make sure that the volume set in Audacity and the volume set on your device is correct. Then it's as simple as queuing up your track or rewinding to the beginning of the album if you're like recording on a cassette, hitting record and then waiting for it to 60 minutes, however long your album is. Then afterwards, all you have to do is press stop and then export it. I recommend exporting as WAV. I talk about this slightly more in the next clip. I recommend saving it as a WAV file just because I believe it's uncompressed, or at the very least, it's a very big file size, as you can see. So afterwards, yeah, just import it into SoundForge, and I'm going to play you guys a piece of the record where it's just silence, so you can hear how bad the pops are. Yeah, so here I'm going to click vinyl. I then click bad condition, strong crackling, and automatically it applies some settings, and when I press play, you basically can't hear anything. How good is that? What I can show you that I like to do as well is go into mastering and go into graphics EQ, because the sound capture card, it's like almost there, but the sound isn't as pure as it is going straight from my preamp and my amp. So what I like to do is I like to go into graphic EQ and make sure it's just off, and then set the bass and treble to a quality that I like. You know, you're doing this for yourself, I would imagine, so it doesn't really matter if it's like a little bit too bassy or it's got a little bit too much treble. What I like to do is just kind of set it a little bit like this, and then like a little bit of bass as well, but this totally depends on your album and your audio capture card and your own tastes as well. But this is mostly the only thing that I do with vinyl. But let me open up a tape here. Yeah, so this sounds really bad. It sounds very bassy. You know, there's not a lot of detail. So the first thing that I would do is click cassette and reduce tape noise, because the tape is a little bit noisy. So that just puts a denoiser on. You can also do a dehisser as well. If you click on the user, you can do tape noise and then cassette recorder pop. This is quite useful as well. You can mess around with whatever you want, both the dehisser and the denoiser, or just the dehisser or just the denoiser. Just depends once again on the condition of your cassette. But both these options are very useful, I think. But with mastering, again, what I like to do here is with Brilliance, click here and then freshen up tape recording, and this massively increases the amount of treble that we've got. But it's still not 100% there. You can mess around with these sliders as well if you want to turn up the brilliance, but once again, I like to put in a graphic EQ, put it into none, and then just once again tweak the treble, the bass, even the mids, especially the mids with cassette, because the mids can be quite lacking as well. So again, just mess around with the EQ. I can't do it in this video because I'd have to actually listen back to my audio, but again, it would be something like a V curve, or more or less a V curve, because that's what I like. Then what we can also do is we can, which is great, the great thing about SoundForge is you can set markers and then set them as tracks. So let's pretend this is like track 2. All I have to do is press M, click here, press M, and as you can see, it creates separate tracks that you can name, and then afterwards you can press ID3 editor, and then you can put the artist, album, year, genre, and name in, and then this will come up as like exif, well, not exif info, it's obviously an ID3 info, but it's just like metadata on your file. Well, that's exactly what it is. And then afterwards you can export it. You can export as MP3, you can also export it as WAV again, but that's quite a big file. You can also export it as a FLAC, but for some reason it's not working for me. You might have to actually download the FLAC encoder. But yeah, it really is as simple as like clicking settings, making sure that each track is its own separate file with its file name, and then making sure that like the format setting is the highest quality you can go. It really is that simple to use this program. So yeah, I hope this video was informative for you guys. I don't normally do tutorials, so I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and please let me know down in the comments below if you've tried out this software, if it's helped you, or if you got any other ways of denoising, declicking, depopping vinyls and cassettes and freshening them up. But yeah, thank you for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.